Danger. The emergency disrupt system is now activated.
Welcome to the Lorehounds. We're your guides to xenomorphically induced terror. I'm your host, David, and this is our coverage of Alien Earth, Season 1, Episode 4, Observation. Given that we're running multiple shows right now, we're doing Alien Earth Squadron style like we did with Andor. John is finishing up Foundation with Marilyn. Alicia is just getting into Peacemaker with Jean Aaron. So check out the main feed for episodes for both of those shows. So what we've done is we've assembled an international badass team of podcasters. And each week we sort of rotate co-hosts that sit with me. And this week is kind of a special week because my squad mates are two of our community members. They're both Lore Masters, which is our top tier subscription. So, gentlemen, thank you very much for your ongoing support. We really couldn't do this without you and all of the subscribers. So thank you. But today with me are Stuart and Bryan, a.k.a. Duve71 and Bryan 8063, also known as Uzel. And
Indeed.
Duve, how you doing? You're across the pond.
Yeah, I'm good. Weather's good. Looking forward to getting stuck into what was a great episode. So yeah.
Yeah. And this is your second time. You and I spoke when we did community fan reactions to Alien Romulus last year.
Yeah, that was good.
And then Bryan, you're flashing here. You were on a 3-hour podcast with Alicia and actually your sister to talk about Gilded Age season. Really, a season 3 wrap up. You guys really covered 1, 2, and 3 all together.
Yeah, it was an awesome experience. We just totally geeked out on drama, costume drama, and history. I'm a historian of the American presidency and American political history. So it's like, this is awesome.
Right. And your sister, Red Zippy, those are your names on your handles on Discord. She has experience with theater and costuming and design.
That's right.
Yeah,
exactly.
So you guys were like a perfect pair to talk with Alicia about that. That was
That's
awesome.
Right.
Yeah. Great. So spoiler warning for all things Alien ever. I'm not very conversant in the books and graphic novels or video games, but the movies, and we're going to be just talking about it all. I also just want to give a little bit of a content warning too, because we're talking about some really weird stuff with children being manipulated by adults. So if that is something that is very affecting for you, just want to be cognizant that we're going to be talking about those topics a little bit. And never mind the body horror, because if you're watching the show, you're already okay with that. So the next week, I'm going to be joined by Steve and Anthony from Properly Howard Movie Review. And I know we covered Severance with them earlier this year, and I can only imagine that Steve and Anthony are super enjoying this season. So I'm excited.
I'm looking forward to that.
Them about.
Yeah, I am too.
It's going to be wicked. The recordings that we're doing are going to mostly on Fridays, just because the way it works for everybody. So a lot of other podcasts are getting their podcasts out the door sooner than we are. That's okay. We're going to run the marathon, and we're going to dive in a little deeper. Although we're not going to do 3 hours like I did with Mark and Ian last week, even though that 3 hours flew by. Today, we've got to stick to sort of 2 hours because we've got some life stuff that necessitate that we keep it around 2 hours. So we'll do our best. With that, let's just keep moving forward here. Feedback, emails, avp@thelorehounds.com. Join us on our Discord. We have channels for all of the episodes. The Discord thing for sub-channels is a little weird, so just shout out if you have any problems finding that. Please, if you have something nice to say, rate and review us on Apple Podcasts. We appreciate that. Helps other people discover podcasts. And if you like what we do, please subscribe. We're an independent podcasters. Ad dollars are fickle, and subscriptions really help keep the machinery of the whole system running. And it's just a great way to support the community too, because we make sure that we look after everyone in our. With all of that out of the way, let's get into our hot takes for episode 4. Do really, really quick your franchise background and then your hot takes for the episode.
Yeah, cool. So I started my journey with Alien when I was about 12, watching the original on a small black and white TV in my bedroom when I shouldn't be. Perfect age. Perfect age for Alien. Yeah, and then of course Aliens dropped as a hormonal adolescent. That was just, perfect combination of guns and alien goo. So yeah, and then everything from that, Dark Horse, graphic novels, comics, games.
Oh, great! So you've read that stuff.
Yeah.
Great, awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
Xenomorphic action is my jam.
Excellent. Well, perfect.
So hot takes. Okay, lot of stuff going on around the human consciousness in an artificial body. I love the whole point about, are you still human? Or is the AI hallucinating a human? So, love that stuff. They're really starting to set out some distinct differences between the 3 life forms that we have in terms of human type life forms. So we've got the cyborgs, which kind of seem like tanks, things that hit hammers that hit things on the head. Synths just seem to be like smooth. They're like the assassins. They're just kind of like smooth in.
Right, okay.
Yeah, and then the hybrids are just, they're not even in between. They're just something completely different. Childish behavior, really led by their emotions, completely impulsive and chaotic, and just like craving approval all the time. And it's just like, so it's really good that they've set this distinct different classes almost of these intelligences. In this episode, it was like synths and artificial life forms, can they harm humans? Are there limiters? It made me think of Bishop in Alien saying that the Ash model was always twitchy.
Yeah.
And that he had a behavioral inhibitor. So I'm just wondering, have they actually got some hardware in them to stop them from harming humans? Because Nibs, scary as F.
I think that's a really interesting point too, because we know there's a little bit of, media or industry news that Hawley has multiple seasons in mind. They get greenlit. And we know that Alien and Aliens, we know that the world is different. And we know that Hawley is cognizant of those things. And of course we whatever, we don't see cyborgs and other. So what is it? What story world, what world building is he doing that he can then tell that story that you're talking about, which is what happened to the cyborgs? What happened to the hybrids, right? That's interesting.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of flexibility there.
Yeah. And the last really hot take from me is just like, we came for the Xeno and we've got deep stuff about existence, transhumanism, all sorts, and then leading up to that ending, which was woof. Yeah, that was good.
Right. Really turning the alien lore upside down.
Completely.
Too.
So that's my hot takes.
Yeah.
Great. Bryan, or real quick, your franchise background and then your hot takes for the episode.
Absolutely. So I think all 3 of us are about the same generation. So I do not have a clear memory of watching Alien in the movie theater, but as middle schoolers, we talked a lot about this movie because it was so novel, so scary. And I think it is part of a media blitz for Showtime, HBO, and Cinemax to say, hey, sign up for this new thing that we're doing on this new thing called cable, and you could watch Alien and Bo Derek's 10 and Star Trek, the first movie, And that's how it got between my friends and that media blitz. That how got into me watching the first movie maybe a couple years later. Okay. And then I was like Stu, I was blown away by Aliens.
Right. I think is for all 3 of us, is Aliens, 1986 Aliens, our Alien movie? Oh, yeah. Is that like a pinnacle Alien experience?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Because it hit just at a particular time.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Exactly.
For us in our lives as young young male, in young male bodies full of like, let's go.
Testosterone overload.
Wow, they're
Exactly.
Exactly. And from that, I've seen all the rest of the movies. I like Prometheus, kind of filled in the lore. That's really the only reason. It's like, where are these big aliens and what were they doing there in that first movie? But then really, I go back to Alien and Aliens. Right. I've seen them many, many times.
Right.
Yeah. That's my fallback. Yeah. Hot takes. So this is different, I think, than what I expected, because this is just more than just your action thriller kind of movie experience I was expecting. So you have all these episodes that you need to fill. So he has created such a rich background of everything that's going on in this world. So I really consider it a modern fairy tale with the 3 M's, quote unquote magic, morality, and monsters. And the themes that I've been looking for. Sounds like
you and Marilyn should should get you guys
right. We should. Yeah,
she's not definitely this thing breaks the computer.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
But maybe we'll get her involved in a conversation. We'll see.
Yeah,
but I like the concept of magic, morality, and monsters. That's really interesting formulation.
Yeah, exactly. And some of the themes that you'll hear me talk about or write about is guardrails.
Okay.
And that is morality, scientific experimentation, corporations, and the theme of greed, which we haven't really touched a whole lot on. And then names. Yes. Right? There are a lot of names in this episode and significance of that.
Right.
So good stuff. Lots of good stuff.
And some great opportunity, especially with the names, to do a little IP crossover and talk about some other things like Earthsea. Yeah,
for sure.
Cool. I neglected to mention earlier in your introductions that Bryan, you're also our editor-in-chief for our blog.
Yes.
And Stu, you've written a few pieces, your Andor piece that you wrote just recently with reflections of your experience as a member of the British military and things that you experienced. That was a really moving piece. So thank you for writing.
It's good to have shows that make you think. And this is definitely one of those shows that got to sit on and chill out.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Exactly.
And I also neglected to mention that we kind of relate to you guys as Lore Master brothers because you both signed up for the Patreon just about the same time. And so there's sort of been this on background relationship going on. And this is the first time we've actually gotten you guys together on mic. So very, very cool opportunity.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. Our names are together when you read them off after every podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
That's funny.
Great. Well, just real quick, my hot takes, and then we'll get into the episode. I think what you're both sort of alluding to this thing and something that is a new concept to me, which is called reader response theory. I'm interested in a little bit in some literary criticism or media criticism. So I'm sort of nibbling around the edges on some of those because I like to think of us as we're a fan community and we're having fun with entertainment, but we're also thinking about and trying to apply stuff from the entertainment that we watch and in these different areas of our lives and the different shows that we choose to cover that are nutritious. Sometimes we cover just entertainment for the sake of it because you want to go and have a Big Mac meal, but or some fast food or something. But other times you really want something nutritious. So I think this show, the construction is you could watch it as entertainment and body horror and action, but if you want it, there are deeper layers going on here that we're going to get into, especially in this episode.
Yeah.
And I find that really fascinating. That's a very hard thing to do. And it's a very hard thing to create art that is entertaining as well. Yes. And there's a balance there. And for me, one of the ways that I relate to art is if something is making me think and I have a response. I've got 2 or 3 blog posts half written in on my computer. and I have ideas. Oh, I should do a little video breakdown of this and that. Like I'm just spontaneously reacting to it. And that tells me that there's, just like with Severance earlier this year, that tells me that, wow, there's really something going on in this show. So I find that great. And it's entertaining at the same time. So whether you're here for just the entertainment or if you're here for something that's a little bit deeper and you're having fun thinking about what Hawley's putting out, then there's a whole world of stuff available for you. Interesting that you mentioned too magic along with the morality.
Yeah.
Because we'll talk about it, the Clarke's third law, which was misattributed to Asimov, but I believe it's intentional, but we'll get there.
Okay.
But I thought it was really interesting because then Boy K uses the word alakazam, which is a magical incantation, if you're a stage musician, right? It's I tried to find the etymology of the word. It seems maybe made up, but that he used it. And then I remember when we heard Morrow talking to Slightly the first time, and I was like, what magic is this? Right? How magically? So not only is Hawley playing with Asimov's robotics laws and Clarke's laws and the parable of the three wise monkeys and, loyalty and more right and wrong, and would you help your friend? All of this stuff. He's also throwing magic in there as well, which is really fascinating. And I think overall, and this episode really solidifies it for me, is that Hawley is using philosophical inquiry as plot structure. The structure of the plot is a philosophical inquiry into the nature of what is it to be human, and what is morality, and how do we? What happens when our human heart is in conflict with itself? And it's just this is a perfect Lorehounds show. It's taking existing IP that we love, it's taking it into a new direction, and it's then at the same time setting up all of these interesting inquiries into philosophy and morality and to the human existence. So chef's kiss so far. I mean, there's little nibbly things around the edge that, why isn't there a safe word for this, or what happened there? And to me, I'm happy.
Just go on the ride.
Just go on the ride for those, because the bigger things are and it's visually beautiful, and the acting is
100%.
Let's really quick circle back before we get into the scene by scene breakdown. We've got a couple of notes just to circle back with. Duve, you have a note. Is this your note here, Duve? Cyborg synth hybrid?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I put down, I think it was probably because of the conversation last week, and it just made me think that, imagine, doesn't matter if you're a cyborg, a synth, or a hybrid, your worldview is going to be very different to us, vanilla Homo sapiens. And think about, if your perception is different and your worldview is different, are you the alien on Earth?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to plug something really quick. There's Saul and Asher Albine are two writers, and they have a platform website thing called Heat Death. And they wrote a really interesting article called Orc is Man to Orc, which is based on an earlier thing. I think Wolf is Man to Wolf. But examining orcs in relationship to humans in Tolkien's world. I have an interview that I'm just finishing up editing, and we're going to be talking about that. But that's a very interesting, that's right along that same point.
Interesting.
From whose point of view are you looking at this story? Yeah. And I think that's really interesting, because now we have, wait a minute, aliens have language?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, exactly. I'll talk a little bit. I'll bring that up in the particular episode of that. But I've been thinking about it even this morning.
Right.
About language.
And then, Duve, is this your note again too about Morrow?
All of these are, unfortunately.
Okay. Including the blog post that you pasted into the outline?
I'm going to drastically edit that, don't worry.
He's got a whole. UKs can't see this, but he's got a whole blog post about the historical precedence of the East India Company model.
Don't worry.
Right. And then I have one little note.
Don't worry. Don't worry.
I'll chime in.
Don't worry. I'm on brief. Don't worry, Dave. I'm on brief. Okay.
Got it.
So,
got it. All right. Well, why don't you run through the rest of your points? Because then we end up then with this whole thing of, because we learn in this episode about the 5 companies. There used to be governments, but we know that in Aliens, Gorman has a U.S. flag flash patch on patch on his uniform. Anyway, bring us up to that point.
So, I was just thinking again, has something happened in the time that Morrow left Earth and back again, where cyborgs are feared or reviled? I bounced on episode 2 when the S&R team had him at the elevator, and there was a real tensing up and a real, he's a cyborg.
Yeah.
So I'm just wondering if something's happened in the world, that maybe cyborgs rose up. Who knows? But I'm just wondering if something's happened there. Again, this is a comment, I think, on the podcast last week about the different life forms. Did they all come from the same planet? I'm saying no, just because.
Agree. Yeah, I also say
just
no.
because of that quote from the exec in Aliens, barren rock, no indigenous life. So
I didn't think about that.
That's where I picked it up.
Because I've picked up, and I can't remember the specific references, but a couple times in this season, they've talked about the Maginot's mission, and it seemed like they went to worlds as opposed to world.
Yeah. So
Yeah, and I also wonder, is Weyland the only company that is bringing specimens? Right?
Yeah.
These other companies maybe are doing space stuff. They have spaceships, but this may be not only off books, but it's like under the desk in a floorboard on the floor. It's like way off book, and you wonder if other companies are doing the same gathering species or not. Just a thought.
I think that's an interesting point, because if we're running up to the point where the 5, where national governments arise again to take back control from the 5, is that part of the storyline? Because doesn't Burke and Ripley talk about getting a species back through quarantine?
Yeah, that's right.
And we know that, I believe the lore of the world is that Weyland-Yutani, as a merged company, is the oldest of the 5. Yeah. And so they really went out to space, where some of the other companies, I think Lynch and Prodigy are the youngest.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody else has the moon. I forget all the details. But anyway, I think you bring a really interesting point there, Bryan, that
who else is doing
how did Weyland-Yutani, what's going on with Weyland-Yutani in space exploration? And did their mucking about in the universe be their own destructive, their own downfall in the control of the Earth?
Yeah, with no guardrails. Whoops.
Yeah. Guardrails. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
Someone online made a really great comparison to some drawings that David did in Covenant of altered flora and fauna, and 2 images that they were put online bear a striking resemblance to Tia Sellis and D. Plumbicare.
Nice.
Perhaps it is a nod.
Tia Sellis is the image, and Plumbicare is the
kind of plant thing. Yeah. So I'm just wondering whether there is a little nod to what came before Covenant. But really, I think in world, has Weyland-Yutani been diligent in following up on certain distress calls?
Okay.
Because of course Covenant did put out a distress call. So
so
anyway.
Right. And that gets into this whole thing around Covenant and Prometheus. Okay, he said he's not actively using those plot points, but it's hard to do anything in the Alien universe without having echoes or shadows of those 2 movies mixed into that's a bad mixed metaphor. But there are effects of those movies that even if you're not directly using them, indirectly they're going to show up in your
still pull from stuff
in your storytelling.
Yeah. And these are 2 most popular of the franchise. So a lot of people who are watching this are going to have some background on that.
Damn, if you go onto the LV426 subreddit, almost damn near half of the comments, in between, like say the show or Romulus or something, It's all about Prometheus and Covenant and David and Goo. And, people can't let it go.
Yeah.
Goo. Right, okay. Now we're going to get into your point, your foolish point, David, where you said, but Gorman's got a US flag and he's a colonial marine, so what's happened? Okay. I'm not going to rehash what Luke said because Luke nailed it with the Eastern India Company model. But there was some crucial things that happened. So the British government reasserted control gradually through a number of acts of parliament. And it was about re-establishing government control of political policy. And what that eventually did is break the commercial monopoly of the East India Company. And then it just ended up becoming almost like a managing agency for the British government in India. So government started to reassert control over an extra governmental entity that was effectively doing its own thing within one of its territories. Now, we've got examples in the modern world of private military contractors doing the work of government effectively through their own forces. So there's definitely lots and lots of allusions to the way the companies operate in the world of Alien to what we've got in the real world. But to answer your question, or a possible answer to your question, is if we think about Alien Earth era, we've already know there's been a series of wars. Big Five step in to fill a power vacuum. They become quasi-governmental entities. They've got their own territories, their own forces, etc. We've seen that. And we even get an allusion to almost a council of five who come together. So there's that. We could then see a transition period which comes after Alien Earth, perhaps between Alien and Aliens, where stability starts returning, populations start recovering. Traditional nation states really want to assert their own authority again. But rather than displacing those corporations, they just integrate them into a new hybrid model. And then you fast forward to Aliens, and it's matured. You've got traditional military structures like the colonial marines. And those colonial marines are operating under a US flag, but maybe other colonial marines operate under another nation state flag. So that could work.
Yeah. Right.
You've got corporations like Weyland-Yutani who've got so much influence because effectively they've got all the contracts, the lobbying, they're embedded with government, and have now embedded themselves with the military leadership as well. So you've got the colonial marines who are serving national interests and also corporate interests. And
it's very interesting when when Burke brings Gorman to Ripley's apartment. There's this why is the military serving a corporation in this way?
Right.
Okay, this is a Hadley's Hope is a corporate town. Why do you need federal forces coming in to mess with your local politics? And it's interesting that they're very interrelated, as you're pointing out there, Dude.
Yeah, and well said, Duve. And I'll make 3 quick points. One, the 5 families reminds me of the 5 families in New York City of the mob.
They
were the 5 families.
Nice.
Yeah. 2, the civil service here in America is high. There's more contractors in the U.S. government now than civil service.
Right.
I have a scholar associate who's studying that. And then the third thing is it's certainly for joint operations between a government and a company. It's a win-win. You get to save money.
Yeah.
But
you're externalizing costs to a shared pool cost of taxes distributed, as opposed to, damn, that APC that just got blown up, that was a really expensive line item.
But you're also offsetting some political cost, aren't you? Oh, look, it wasn't us. It was this really awful corporation over here. Politicians love to shift the blame.
They do.
It's interesting. I was hearing somebody talk about SpaceX and NASA, and how with the space now, we don't have a tolerance for NASA and the government to take losses, but SpaceX can.
Yeah.
So that's almost an inversion of that.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting, the interplay between public and private here. There's a lot cycling back and forth between each other.
Yeah.
So hopefully that's given you a possible through line, David, for why Gorman's rocked
Well,
up?
I don't know. I think I need some more nuance in it. So maybe if you could write up a blog post,
Yes. Go to our website, click blog.
Okay, I'll make a note of that.
Perfect.
That's right. I see a prequel series coming out of this too, by the way, I think.
Oh, dear.
Right. Well, we are 30 minutes into our intro. That's pretty good. I mean, we went 45, I think, with Ian and Mark even before we got to the episode. So we're going to take a quick break. And then when we come back, we will get into our scene by scene. And we're back. Okay, a couple of production details. This is episode 4, Observation. It's written by Noah Hawley and Bobak Asfaranjani, directed by Ugla Hauksdottir. She is an Icelandic director, still experienced, but still early in her career. She's directing episodes, this one, 4 and 6. This is her first go-round with Noah Hawley, and she is being known for Scandinavian noir, among other things, very atmospheric, very vibey, and I think she did an excellent job on this episode. Both of you guys are nodding
lots
your
of
heads
vibes.
quite vigorously.
Ingeborg Bergman.
So I'm really looking forward to seeing episode 6 from her and having this is a great opportunity for her career to really break into the American market, especially to work with somebody like Noah Hawley. 58-minute runtime. And so I think we're going to try to focus a little bit more on the concepts rather than the individual shot details and stuff of this episode so that we can sort of time really quick into the warm open. I'm calling it the warm open. I don't know if that works or not. It's not a cold open and it's not, a hot open. It's in between somewhere. We have this ocean scene with the intercut, and is this style of opening working for both of you? Stu, why don't you?
Yeah, I do like it because I picked up last week Ian's point. Sometimes you look at the cold open, and it's setting up what you're expecting to see in the episode. This isn't. It's just giving you a couple of quick, tasters of what came before. The music that opens every episode just brings you straight in, and so for me, it's just like, keep doing that. It's perfect way to do it.
Bryan?
Yeah, it's unusual, I'll admit. It again, setting expectations. I wasn't expecting these kinds of openings, but I think they do work. I kind of like them. They reset your expectations.
Right.
It's like, oh, something's different is going to happen here. I'm kind of like getting a little closer to the TV set. And so this ocean didn't make sense until we had the song Ocean Size.
Oh, that's a head smack moment. I didn't even pick that up. Well
so we
done.
now have a bookend.
Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah.
And we have a bookend and we have a callback.
Well, I bet Casey doesn't have scary dreams. Let's take a look. Nope, nothing bad in there. See? Maybe you could just try to be like her, huh?
Ripley, she doesn't have bad dreams because she's just a piece of plastic.
So we have this great callback with a doll's head to the 1986 movie Aliens. And there's no mistaking that those two things are connected. Yeah. So what he's winking at, I don't know. What the doll's head has to do with this, with any of this show, but it's so rich, it's so evocative.
I mean,
dude, if you look stunned, your jaw is
because when you plopped it into the outline, I was like, I'm glad someone else really got that. But it's the words, and then I just had that call back to Kirsch in earlier episodes where he's basically he's telling the hybrids why have no fear. Why are you scared? You're not an animal. You're a machine.
Right.
And there is that animal machine fear, lack of fear paradox coming in. So the words from Newt, she doesn't have bad dreams. She's a piece of plastic, but we know, don't we? We know someone has bad dreams. or has.
And then it wraps around to the big winks and nods of do androids dream of electric sheep?
Yeah.
And Blade Runner universe and Kirsch with his white hair. So he's just playing all over this playground.
Yeah. And I just kept looking at this this doll's head, and the problem, I wish we had more of a context of the size, but it looked big to me. And I wonder if like they were during this whole synth project or a hybrid project, they threw some trash out. And was that a head for a model for a synth or a hybrid? Who knows?
I'm down with the fact that this is the same universe as Blade Runner. And if you think about Blade Runner, in one of the scenes, it's the toys, isn't it? The toys with the early mechanics, the early automatons. So hey,
what was the toy maker?
What was the toy maker's name? I forget now. We're going to get in trouble. Don't ask us.
Right.
We have a lot of stuff in our head.
That's right.
All right, let's move on. First scene. Oh, good. It's the brother. As Arthur and Dame Sylvia consider Wendy's condition, Boy K arrives to further investigate. Boy K dismisses Kirsch and Dame Sylvia, and Arthur turns Wendy's hearing back on. Not only can she hear the xenomorphs talking across multiple high frequencies, but she can also the sounds. Joe and Boy K argue about what's best for Wendy. One of the things that I was really struck with in this scene packs in a lot. And Bryan, you and I were talking prior to the episodes.
Yeah.
This episode packs a lot of stuff up, high concept stuff up in the front. And then it sort of gets into just simple or action stuff later on and pays it off.
Mm-hmm.
And so in this scene, one of the things that really caught me was Wendy in the middle between Boy K and her brother Joe, which is later mirrored by slightly between, slightly between Kirsch and Morrow. And so we have these angel devil type things happening, on either shoulder, and whether who's an angel and who's a devil and who's neither nor, I think is an interesting question. But Bryan, what are some big things that you're taking from this particular scene?
Yeah, what I noted was Wendy saying, "I can speak for myself," and and I think she may play into the fact that she is facing, like many other people, a complex moral situation. And because of my brain, which I'll talk more about as we go through, that my lack of experience as a child and the fact I can't focus on complex reasoning, I need to take a breath. It's like, back off. I can speak for myself.
Right.
And I need to reset because it's just too much. So that was one of the things that I really perked up about when I saw that. It's like, yeah.
And that's part of Wendy's journey. And I believe I was trying to do a little reading about the characters from Peter Pan as well. Another half-baked blog post idea. Is there one-to-one relationships in the book? And it doesn't seem like it because Nibs is supposed to be the upbeat one in the books, but in this is clearly not. But part of Wendy's journey, as I understand it, is that she's transitioning from being a kid into a young adult.
Yeah.
And we see her kick some underwear or something out later, embarrassment, and she, talks about her breasts and, when these things are weird, whatever. So this idea that Joe and her have been separated for a long time, and she's grown up and she's a bigger kid now. She's has more agency. She doesn't need her big brother managing her and directing. Doof?
I picked up on when Wendy was vocalizing the alien, especially on the second watch. It seemed to have a really unsettling effect on the humans in the room. There's a little bit of backing away and there's some tension there, but not Curly and not another character, which we can talk about. But it was a theory of yours, Dave, and it made me it really made me think, because when I saw it for the second time, I'm like, oh, okay.
And what's different about Wendy? She says they picked me, but we know that mechanically she is picking up on higher frequencies because when she's in the lab testing and she's raising her hand, she can hear sounds that the other ones can't. So what's different about her chassis?
Yeah.
What's different about her processors?
Yeah, exactly. And being the first one, who knows? They might have tweaked it on the second, third, fourth go around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So about that too, I had the subtitles on for the closed captioning on in my second watch, and it's described as cheering, right? Which is the proper description for what crickets and other insects do. And so it's rubbing their legs together to make these sounds.
Yeah. When I was thinking about it more, and again, this another reason why we take time, right, for Friday, because we can percolate on these things. I equated it. I thought it was like a discussion of either, is this an animal call or language? But now I'm thinking about dolphins.
Okay.
Dolphins have more sophisticated communication system, right? They use clicking, whistles, body language. This to me is more alien than maybe just than a language, because language is pretty sophisticated, but it's more than maybe just an animal call. So I'm wondering if it's like a dolphin-like intelligence.
That could be, because it is. They do say that it's happening on multiple frequencies. Later on, we get that piece of world building as well.
You've also got, though, if you think about it, in Aliens they talk about it's a hive species.
Yes.
Think about ants. Mm-hmm. Ants chirrer. They just rub their antennae. So ants do something similar, and they use body language and pheromones as well.
Well, and it goes into our hubris as a species, that if it doesn't fall within our vision, which is what's interesting about the Yuan-Ti, the predator species, because they're seeing in a different spectrum of light. We're not hearing and seeing certain things, so we assume that it doesn't exist. Where elephants use infrasound. They use low frequency vibrations to communicate with each other over distance, both through the ground and through just they do this thing where they push into the ground a little bit and they can send sort of sound waves down into the ground, but they can also just be standing around and just rumbling and making noises that go distance. Same with whales. Whales using salinity and temperature factors to send their song much further. So there's a whole world of stuff going on that I think we're just too arrogant to as a species.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so now let's talk about Boy K here a little bit. He's always ahead of us. And
there's that E rating, people.
So I would assume that a lot of people in our community would have picked up on the misattribution of the Arthur C. Clarke 3 laws, and that it wasn't Asimov who said this. We're going to talk about that in a second. I'm going to just put out where I'm standing on this. Mm-hmm. Hawley and the writers are well smart enough to have not made this a mistake. So if you take it the next step, an obvious answer is, okay, well, Boy K is, hubristic. Is that the right? Can I say that? He's full of hubris. And so, okay, that's true and that works. But if we take it another step forward and get into a meta commentary, what is Hawley doing by putting that line, knowing that is going to flag for a bunch of us, that is what's going on there? So then I went and I looked and I read all 3 laws and I read a little bit about what Clarke was talking about here. So this is published first in 1962 in his book, Profiles of the Future, an Inquiry into the Limits of the Possible. The first law, when a distinguished but elderly scientist states that something is possible, he is almost certainly right. When he states that something is impossible, he is very probably wrong. Clarke's law number 2, the only way of discovering the limits of the possible is to venture a little way past them into the impossible. And then the third law is any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. So the magic thing gets pulled out all the time as a standalone to just go, oh, fantastic technology. But I think what's really interesting here is that all three of these laws in operation talk about human hubris and our ability when we think we know something that actually blinds us to what's possible. And so there's something going on here with this conversation. And then later there's this conversation about the three wise monkeys. And this is like something I've been working on for the last couple of days, trying to work this intersection. He's almost creating this XY axis, between this proverb and these laws about technology. Thoughts, reactions?
Yeah, I think I'm glad you kind of fleshed this out, David, because what I'm kept picking up is that this is hallmark of science, because you don't want to think about the impossible. You want to try all solutions. Mm-hmm. You want to experiment in different ways, breaking through old patterns, old ideas, right? This is a hallmark of science throughout human history. So you don't want to come in and say that's impossible. You want to have yourself with no limitations to create innovation. So I think that is where Boy K is coming from.
Totally, with the kid prodigy thing.
Yeah, exactly. Where, of course, I'm going to have no rules. I'm going to do whatever I want and to push it. So that really, sets the stage for the scientific mind.
And that's really interesting because Arthur starts to chafe against that. Later, when he talks with Dame Sylvia, he's like, this isn't science. And Dame Sylvia, but there's interesting there because they're doing a three wise monkey thing, but that's, we'll get there later.
Yeah.
But their Boy K is just breaking things and shaking things up, which is an interesting commentary on our current tech broligarchy that's existing. And so he's again Hawley using philosophical inquiry as plot structure. Do you have any thoughts? Or reactions?
I mean, this is what I love about shows like this and how different people look at things. So that the way you've just taken us through that is phenomenal. It's making me think about things in a very different way. However, I'm a bit surface sometimes. I've already said this is not our world. I do think it is, at least in some ways, maybe the world of Blade Runner. So, our time now, we're already in the stars. We've already started colonizing. There's already been some wars. I just think it's another world, another version. So actually, in this version, maybe Asimov made the quote, not Arthur C. Clarke.
Right.
So really shallow.
Right. But that's interesting though, because Toodles later in this episode changes his name to Isaac in the taking a name of in the naming thing. God, this show is like one of those milfoil 1,000-layer cake things. It's like, oh my God.
But yeah.
And then we throw in something like this.
What do you think?
I think when a hostile alien species decides to speak, one needs to ask why.
Yeah. Yep.
And this is this huge open door that we have no idea what Hawley has been looking at. Like what is going on with the xenomorphs.
Yeah.
I
mean, I made a note that what I like is you get this, this is moving the story on. There's something here. There's something important that we're being told, through the visual, through the acting. This is something important. Listen, pay attention. And then Hawley moves to a shot of Curly, who's effing up the machinery. Because Boy K...
Look on her face. Look on her face when she's like, oops, I switched something.
Boy K told her, go away, push some buttons and turn some knobs. And she did. But so it's like you just get that little moment of complete humor. It is that little bit, isn't it? It's take you forward, drop something different, and then let's move you forward again. It's great.
Yeah, and he's really playing with the form. Same thing with the outro music and other things. He's really thought about how we are affected, how we as the viewers are engaging with this media. And he's playing with the forms and the structures. He's twisting our knobs and flipping our buttons in a way.
Yeah.
So
we're not in the driver's seat.
We're going to have to talk about Adrian Edmondson, Duve, because I got to hear what your reactions are. But we'll get there when he and Joe talk later. Because for us Americans, for us Yanks, no clue. But it's a pretty cool thing. I'm glad Luke was on that first one to call it out. All right. Are you mad at me? Back in her room, Wendy shows Joe her charging station and the siblings share a word. Wendy is worried that Joe is mad at her for wanting to listen to the aliens. And Joe and Wendy unpack the complex feelings around their loss of each other and their father. Duve, do you want to start us off with this?
Yeah,
scene?
I mean, for me, I think what I picked up from that scene really is there's definitely a wedge starting to emerge between the siblings.
Mm-hmm.
And I was getting that very much towards the end. You know, Joe's trying to reconnect with his sister. She's been trying to do that for a long time, but now they've come together. They're different. They are different people. So there's definitely, I think, and you get a bit more later on in the episode. So that's what I got from this scene. It's that it's not going to be all sunshine and rainbows between Wendy and Hermit.
And there's this, I guess, is it an old adage, or there's this observation that siblings experience their families differently. Yeah, it's one family, but are you an eldest, a middle, a younger? How big? Did parents stay together? Were there any deaths? This kind of stuff. We all take a different perspective from our experience as family. And so Joe has this one experience and these memories of their father that she doesn't. Yeah. But she lived a long time without him and had to face the threat of her own mortality as a terminally ill child. And then Joe went off to fight war. So they're very different people in the end. Bryan, do you have siblings?
Yeah. I have Red Zippy.
So of course I know that. What am I? I got stuck with my setup.
But, our family, I'm thinking about the terminal illness, the baggage that goes into the scene before that. We've had family deaths and you experience it differently. I also wonder, the war was going on, but, were her parents, Marcy's parents, their parents, protecting
Biscuit?
Hermit?
He calls her Biscuit at one point, too.
Yeah. Are they protecting Hermit? By saying, you just, don't worry, we'll take care of Marcy. You just do what you need to do, right? And then there's Marcy who say, I want to see my brother. I'm dying. So there's a lot of emotional baggage going into this into the scene for sure.
100%.
Yeah.
And then we get those little world building drops. What happened to their dad? I couldn't see you, and I couldn't see our dad. Well, okay, what happened to Dad? Oh, I was fighting in a war on the other side of the planet. Okay, what war was that?
War? Yeah. Hello.
Right. Help me. You fought with, General Kenobi. You fought with my father in the Clone Wars. Wait, what? Clone War? 1977 Clone Wars? General? Excuse me? Can you tell me more? Right. Beautiful little drops like that to just ignite our interest and our passion into. Tell me more about this world.
Definitely.
That's right. And a war, we know, weakens families, society, and governments. So it's like, this is just like, boom. This is a big, big mic drop.
Right. Yeah, in just a line. Boop.
In just a line, yep.
And notice the 3 wise monkeys are over her charging station.
Yeah.
Big kid bed. Big kid bed.
Yep. Standard decor, I guess, in this place.
all sort of bed bath, or not in bed bath, but room and board, or
bed bath and Buddhism.
Yeah, exactly. For sure. All right. Anything else about this scene?
I mentioned like the kid's bed. Her bed looks like a kid's bed, and they got a little toys, stuffed animals on top.
Yeah.
But very utilitarian.
Yeah.
And if people are interested, the movie they're watching is Ice Age Continental Drift, the number 4 in this series. So
right.
my kids went through a lot of Ice Age.
Okay.
Yeah, we got to Ice Age 2 with ours, and then
Okay. Fair enough.
We never made it in there, so that's fine. Now we're on to K-pop Demon Hunters. So
Yeah, exactly.
can you believe it's the number 1 movie in the United States right now?
It is.
They dropped a weekend showing kind of as a sing-along in sort of this offhanded way. Sure, why not? And it blew the doors off the box.
My 25-year-old daughter said, you got to go and watch it. She says it's really good.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
maybe this weekend.
Well, it's on
It is,
Netflix and at least, yeah. So.
Yeah.
All right. The Miseducation of Arush Singh. This is a brace of episodes starting with Boy K reading another passage from Peter Pan, which then follows a sort of back and forth between 2 scenes here. So making things right. Slightly finds an isolated, Slightly finds an isolated place so he and Morrow can talk in private, neither remembering nor knowing that a synth system is being constantly recorded. Morrow continues both his moral education and manipulation, slightly introducing the concepts of restitution and loyalty. Morrow learns Slightly's real name. Real quick, the voiceover, the book that reading that Boy K is reading, Peter Pan. The Neverland had been make-believe in those days, but it was real now, and there were no night lights, and it was getting darker every moment. Of all delectable islands, the Neverland is the snuggest and most compact. Not large and sprawly, with tedious distances between one adventure and another, but nicely crammed. When you play at it by day with the chairs and tablecloths, it is not the least alarming, but in the 2 minutes before you go to sleep, that's why there are nightlights. Some serious meta commentary by Hawley about what is coming for the back half. This is a perfect placement of this. People are going like, oh, Boy K, he's just popping off with a microphone. But no. When Hawley does this stuff, it is a big flag that he's waving in our faces to pay attention to what he's saying and what he's about to do.
Definitely.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just amazing. And I wouldn't have thought that he would pick Peter Pan. It's like, what?
Exactly.
How do you define that? It's brilliant.
So let's talk a little bit about Slightly and Morrow here. Babu Sise continues to just devour this role, right?
Dude.
He's so good in the superimposing of the shots, the way that Hawley really beautifully using the language of 1979 to tell this story. It also makes me think a lot about Severance this year. Remember Severance?
Oh, God, yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Earlier this year.
Like a decade ago.
Yeah. Duve, you want to pick us up with any of your thoughts on Slightly and Morrow here?
I mean, Morrow continues his absolute creep fest of grooming Slightly, and it's just, the right and the wrong of it, and the way that he's manipulating Slightly through the conversation. It's just creepy.
Bryan, I thought it was interesting that we talk about restitution and loyalty within the sphere of morality.
Yeah.
I don't know if you picked up on some of those thoughts.
The ethics, like one could come after the other, because ethics is the question what I ought to do, and the restitution is possibly the plan. It's the action, right? So you are thinking about, while Slightly sitting on the rock, he is thinking about this complex answer to this question. Morrow has the answer. He has the action. He has the restitution. Right. So it's interesting that they use these kinds of words very specifically, because as your friend, I'll tell you what you need to do.
Mm-hmm.
You need to get that egg, right? And Slightly, I'll talk as quickly as I can about the way I'm looking at, when we first started the series, I was very interested in what's the difference between an adult brain and a child brain.
Right. And you have a blog post about this.
Yeah, and I do. And I encourage people to go see it, read it, and take a look at it. I had some in-house help. My wife is a neurologist.
Oh.
So, yes.
Great.
So we sat down and we had a long conversation about this.
Is she watching the show?
She watched the first 2 episodes and she was very intrigued by what she was seeing as well about this. And what I picked up was that Slightly has some, there's certain guardrails, right, about being safe as you get older, experience what is appropriate behavior, right? And he has some of that. Slightly has some of that from his parents, but not all of it, right? Because he's maybe 10, 11, somewhere around in that. So he's struggling from the limited experience. His world is small for that. And he's struggling to apply and understand this moral complexity because he hasn't had that guidance from parents and friends that you do when you grow up to become an adult.
And these different phases of development.
Yes. Exactly.
He's coming into a different phase right now, and only now is his mind being able, intellectually, to be able to start to grapple with these concepts, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And if you don't have the kind of guardrails of parents and upbringing and tradition and even culture, you're lost. And
lost boys.
Lost boys. Exactly. He is lost, and he's taking kind of truth also by kind of face value, right? Morrow's telling you, here's the truth. Here's your restitution. Boom, give me an egg. So I thought it was just fascinating.
And then we get into the whole naming of it. Roosh Singh.
I was like, don't.
Dude, I think you got a note here about Ursula K. Le Guin.
I mean, when he said it, I was just like, don't. Because I jumped.
No. You're giving away your power.
I jumped immediately to Earthsea. Because,
magic. And this goes to your point, Bryan, about magic.
Yeah.
In the 3 M's.
Because I wrote down the actual bit from the book, which is, who knows a man's name holds that man's life in his keeping. Perfect. That's a perfect line.
Love it.
For what's just happened. So it was just like, don't do it. Oh, too late. There you go. You've ceded your power. You've ceded your power to Morrow.
Yep.
And of course, then we do see the effect of that later on.
Yeah. And then I was really taken by a couple of different things, villain or hero. Well, of course, we're all heroes in our own story.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then this question of loyalty. Loyalty to what? To whom? Loyalty to a company? Loyalty to a grandmother who passed away while you were on a deep space mission? Loyalty to your friends? Later, Slightly chooses loyalty to his friends. I'll stand up for my friends and my family. I'm going to do unimaginable things to protect my mother and my brothers.
Yeah.
So Hawley is laying a trap for us, for Slightly, and for us, by creating this framework of, and we're going to get into the 3 wise monkeys here in a second, but of putting Slightly into this position of what is right and wrong in this moment, in this situation.
That, just as soon as you were talking about that, it just made me think, what's motivating Morrow? He's had to do terrible things. He said that.
Yeah.
I've had to, he's sacrificed people that he may have considered friends. What's his motivation?
At the beginning, right? When he doesn't unlock the door.
He seems to be on like the mission, I must get these specimens to Yutani. Surely it's not just that. That feels very transactional.
Well, but you're also thinking back to the model of the mob. Loyalty is everything in the mob. So you will kill people for loyalty to your Don. So maybe it is. There's some of that in there. That loyalty is a driving force in his life because that's all he has now.
What does the search and rescue team say? The two guys that he ties up, the one guy says to him, "Brother, you can't leave us here like this. I'm not your brother."
Yeah.
Right. His loyalty is with, and then I think what's also interesting, Morrow is so fascinating that he says, there's a degree, I picked up a degree of self-loathing about his condition, and that he was idolizing the synths in a way that he could he discard, or not the synths, the hybrids, could he somehow discard the worst of a man? What is the worst of a man? Fear, doubt, self-worth. When you don't feel that you have when you don't have a sense of self-worth for yourself. Yeah, you can have all kinds of circumstances in your life, but it's really, again, if you have an inward negative view of yourself, that to me is worse than any external. Okay. Be careful there. That is one of those things that could be very the worst of our condition is when we are harsh to ourselves.
Yeah. He's in a very bad place, as our communities has picked up, where he's lost just about everything. So he's basically unmoored, right? He has his guardrails are off. So
didn't we learn that he's he was a street urchin? He was picked, that's the sense that I have, that he had lived on the streets and then somehow he got picked up by Yutani, which is his loyalty to the grandmother, maybe. Because when we see him walking through the street, he's able to snatch food and phone expertly, right? Without a second thought. Oh, look, food.
Well, that pivots well into your point there then, Bryan. He's loyal. He's a loyal soldier to Yutani, but grandmother Yutani.
Yeah. All right, let's pick up the next scene here.
Do you know why there are 3 monkeys on your wall? What? Mizaru sees no evil. Kikazaru hears no evil. Iwazaru speaks no evil. They're figures in Buddhist teaching about avoiding evil thoughts and deeds, but over the years they've come to represent something else. Do you know what that is?
Such an interesting thing that he's doing here, because he's highlighting the fact that the 3 wise monkeys have a dual meaning depending on your point of view.
Yeah.
And in one sense, it's about disciplining the mind to not letting yourself think and engage with negative thought. So you're kind of trying to train yourself and not engage with self-doubt and those kinds of things. But then in the Western context, it's about ignorance to stuff, which I think plays into Arthur and Sylvia's conversation later. So again, here, when we put this next to Clarke's 3 laws, there's some really interesting stuff going on. But I'll also just have to throw out that I think it's very fascinating that Slightly is hearing evil, right?
Yes.
Bryan, what were you picking up in this conversation?
Yeah, it's one of those things where I like what you said about the Buddhist. It's like a meditation, right? You're pushing away all thoughts. You're disciplining
your
discipline your mind exactly to push away all these thoughts. But then the West has corrupted that to loyalty. We're back to loyalty again, right? Are you going to be loyal to your friends, to your company, or and basically do what you think, what I'm thinking you're doing, right? And I have a question because I think it was right before the scene, and because we talked about in Discord about what does Kirsch know about Morrow, right? We know he's listening in, but I think in that scene right before, he's on the computer, Kirsch is at the computer, and he's hearing Slightly. I think he can hear Morrow too, because his voice comes not natural, that the way Slightly hears it, but through like a computer speaker. And it's like, oh, well, if he can hear Morrow and Slightly, that's interesting, right? So he kind of knows what's going on. He has more information, more data.
Right.
So then he could play off and make sure he could be that counter,
and
that balance.
There's a couple of interesting mechanical things happening here. One, as we see him looking through the recording of Slightly. So that's one piece of visual language there where we have the sort of two round binocular vision things. But then the flashback of the communication device on Slightly's neck is in full color, full screen. So Hawley is taking us out of one frame of reference into another frame of reference. And then he superimposes Kirsch's face through that seeing of the communications thing. So to me, that's signaling that Kirsch's theory is, that's how he did it, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm putting it together now. And then he throws Morrow's words back at him in this situation, hurt or cause others to be hurt. Morrow says that to the kids when they're by the eggs.
Yeah.
And then Morrow says, careful, and slightly stiffens. And don't tell me that Kirsch didn't fully get that in that moment. What can Kirsch see? Can he see your heart rate? Can he see your pores opening on your skin? Can he see your nervous system and your physiology reacting? Your eyes dilate.
Exactly. Pure scientist.
Yeah.
Observer.
Yeah. I mean, there's a game, obviously. Kirsch is playing a game. Just don't know quite what it is yet.
It's so delicious.
I got a little sense that actually he was seeding some of these words too Slightly, almost as a way of, I'm trying to think. Slightly's a little kid. Okay.
Yeah, right.
Kirsch.
Who just wants to do the good thing. He wants to play cricket. Yeah. He had his cricket knee pads on the wall back there.
And Kirsch is almost like feeding some words which to a maybe a slightly older child or an adolescent would kind of tip you off, oh shit, Daddy knows what I've been up to. I better back off.
Yeah.
And I was just
that complexity.
I was just thinking, is Kirsch trying to say to Slightly, look, I kind of know what's going on.
Yeah.
But it doesn't.
Right.
Slightly can't pick up on that cue. So
it's one of those things where with the older kids, you can do a little teaching moment, right? You can sort of set up and lead them through the conversation.
Yeah. And it just shows you Kirsch is not a parent. He doesn't sit down, right? He doesn't sit down with him and say, let's talk, right? He has no emotion. He's just it's so bad.
I liked the line that you said there, hurt or cause others to be hurt, because I just immediately clicked on Asimov's robotic laws.
And isn't that interesting? He's playing with Asimov and Clark
in the same thing.
Yeah.
In the matter of minutes, and he's misattributing a quote to one to the other. But then, so that's, to me, that's part of the clue of like him waving these big semaphore flags.
Yeah.
Pay attention, because I'm saying some things about this, and I'm using philosophical inquiry as plot structure to, pardon my French, fuck with these characters.
Yeah, 100%.
And to see what they're going to do and how they're going to react. And how would you react?
Yeah.
What would you do in this situation? Yeah. What are you going to do as a parent? What are you going to do as an individual? Are you loyal to your company or are you loyal to your family?
Yeah. Are you going to swim with the fishes?
Yeah, exactly. And the mob stuff, Bryan, that's really great. I love the mob analogies too, because of course now when we're dealing with some real world politics, right, there is a very much of a gangster mentality that is being employed to very. Anyway, I don't want to go down that road, but it's really resonating with
me.
In
politics, right? Exactly. Yeah.
And same as Andor resonated with a lot of us about politics. We're not saying one thing or the other. Well, we are, but if you don't like what we're saying, you can not listen to the podcast. Bye. And don't leave a nasty comment on the Apple podcast. Come on, guys, get over it. Anyway, we're here for entertainment, right? So great. So,
and lore. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So it's. Yeah. Okay. Well, we're. I think it's time for a break.
Yeah. Chew on it.
And then when we get on, we'll start talking about image. And we're back. All right. Glass half full, kid. Dolly the sheep gets infected by the eye midge. Enough said. Let's talk about this beautiful, this horror, the camera work and the music beautifully told this terrifying story. Duve, what were you picking up?
Yeah, well, straight away, the point about the music, Russo just, there's little nods in there to Alien and Aliens, and you just, it's that dread, but it wraps you up in the universe and what you so something bad's going to happen, and oh god, yeah, T.S. Ellis is just it's the little tendrils that come out of the hole,
right?
And I read on the production that where the sheep is backing away, that's a real sheep, because they wanted the reaction.
Wow, yeah.
They wanted a natural reaction from the sheep. But yeah, and then it just gets scunchy.
Yeah, and shout out to the official pod. It's been really great. They're really compact episodes, and they really provide a lot of great conversation and context. And in this one, they talk about they had 3 sheep: the real sheep, an animatronic sheep that could sort of turn its head and do some stuff, and then a CGI sheep. And boy, it was seamless, wasn't it, Bryan? I couldn't tell. I mean, you kind of knew once the midge was in there and the head was moving like that. So it's like, oh yeah, that's clearly not a real sheep, but it's just amazing. And when I first saw the sheep, I thought of Dolly, the clone sheep in 1996. Right. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. And then that spring, President Bill Clinton produced a memo saying, and I quote, "The new technology of cloning raises profound ethical issues, particularly with respect to possible use to clone humans, which in this world, probably humans can be cloned. Federal funds should not be used for cloning for human beings." And this to me is another example of guardrails, right? It's like, okay, you're doing animal experimentation. You're doing human experimentation on cyborgs and hybrids and consciousness. Where's the guardrails, right? There's no, for this corporations, there's none, right? They do whatever they want to. Bring in a sheep, see what happens. It's like, no, this is not good.
And Arthur starts to chafe against that.
Yeah, exactly. That's an important element of why he's reacting the way he does.
Right. Did either of you, in your second watch or anything like that, slow down or look at the eye midge and the way that they're making it work?
Yeah, like the eyes, like I think the first time he sees the sheep, 3 eyes come together.
It's 7 segments.
Wow.
So if you freeze frame, you can see the pizza slices of the eye. It doesn't form one giant eye. It actually forms 7 segments like pizza slices around. That's what I counted.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if other people are counting differently, but I
it doesn't go to 1 until it's in the the eye socket of Dolly.
Right.
And
and it's like a fly. Right. It sees the world like a fly.
Yeah,
I just when it went up on two legs, I just thought,
oh man,
that to me immediately, I thought, is it copying the behavior of one of the crew on the Maginot? Because we've had we've had remember in the first episode we got some teasers, didn't we, of some of the crew members who'd been obviously killed by different species. So
it's a very explicitly called out that not everybody died in the same way.
It went up on so the first thing it did when it was confronted with other bipeds up on 2 legs,
and then it was like, this is wrong. I can't sustain this.
But that was
exactly.
Did you also notice, Duve, that spherical opening of the container?
Again, it's the iris effect.
Straight out of 79.
Did they have the same?
Because
the same sound as well.
Yeah, same sound.
Yeah.
That sort of metal, oiled metal, sliding on. And that's when Dallas is, going through the air ducts in the ship.
And it closes behind him.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So,
Good
Hawley has studied the source
Yeah,
material
definitely.
and he's using it very, very well.
Yeah. For sure.
They talk about gamma waves. Actually, you should, Bryan, it'd be interesting to hear your wife's take on this. Toodles, soon to be called Isaac, talks about the wavy lines changing and that the gamma waves are being, are increasing in frequency. And I just a quick internet search, gamma waves are fast brain waves with frequencies at 32 to 100 hertz or higher. And and Kirsch tells us what we need to know, that this is a peak cognitive state, concentration, learning, complex decision-making. And one thing I thought was interesting, that gamma oscillations are thought to coordinate information across different regions of your brain. So it's a way that your brain signals to itself with some stuff. So.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. I think, those kinds of sophisticated tests, brain tests, I'm sure in neurology, those are helpful and necessary as you're going through with serious brain injuries and disease.
Right.
Yeah.
So I want to point something too. This is just occurring to me too. In my second watch later, when Toodles and Kirsch are observing the sheep in a subsequent scene, there's a screen that pops up that at first, when it first popped up, I thought, oh, they were just scanning T. ocellalis, but they were actually scanning nibs. But we'll talk about that when we get there. So, but this is a nice setup because they show us the gamma oscillations for T. ocellalis, but then he later does a switcheroo. He does a little alakazam and abracadabra and says, no, this is not actually what you're seeing. What you're seeing here is nibs, not T. ocellalis. Because he uses the same sort of shot decomposition in the way that he edits it.
Cool.
So real quick, Boy K and Ennis are talking, and I love, he calls Ennis kid, right? Glass half full kid. Ennis, in my opinion, is a synth. And I don't know, did either of you pick up on the clue?
Yeah. Well, it's like I said in the first scene, when Wendy's making the alien vocalizations, everyone's looking, not Ennis. Ennis is stood next to to Curly, and the face is just blank.
I didn't even pick up on that, actually, because I was using the clue from the ball throwing.
Me too.
Yeah. It was the second watch where I clicked on that scene, which then linked, and I thought, yes.
Perfect.
Yeah, synth.
Perfect. He's not just a cold, emotionless guy. He's actually a synth.
And
So Boy K bounces the ball, and Ennis catches it very quickly. And when Wendy was convincing Boy K to send them on the rescue mission, he throws the ball at her, and she catches it. So, and then of course later he puts Ennis up against the three faces in his studied workshop. So, there's, to me, that's all kinds of
yeah. And to me, having a synth as an advisor is good because he wants options. And if you have a computerized brain, you can give your boss options, right? Not good, not bad. Here are your options. And he can execute things efficiently. So it's a good manager and no drama. Boy K creates his own drama.
I don't feel like doing this today.
Yeah. So he will take orders, but he's also not a great advisor because you need that empathy, right? To have great advice so he doesn't have that, but I'm not surprised that he is his right hand.
Right. And Boy K sure is getting aroused here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He's really...
It's the dollars.
Yes.
It's the commodity. I'm seeing commodity. I mean, everything to him, I think we got about corporate greed. It's about units. Right. It's about selling.
But, I mean, for him...
It's not about science, to me,
Christmas
anyway.
Every single day at the moment for him.
Exactly.
Every day gets a new present.
I'm going to be Santa Claus.
It's a new present.
And you're going to pay for it. I'm not giving it out for free.
Dude, what did you make of when Boy K pointed to himself and said me?
Yeah. He recognizes that T. ocellalis has got intelligence. So he knows he's not a dumb animal. He's clocked that immediately. And for me, is like trying to imprint on this thing. I'm the guy.
I'm the boss.
I'm the guy. Talk to me. And I actually thought when he did that, they were going to flick to the sheep, and it was going to try and vocalize. It almost looked like it was trying to, but yeah, it's like, look at me. I'm the person in charge.
I think
here.
the other signal that Hawley is sending us in this, and I'll wager internet points, is that Oscillus is going to be the creature that takes down Boy K.
Yeah.
They do a great superimposing. The shot setup in this, the very opening shot is a close-up of the sheep's eye, the same eye that the midge is going to take out. So beautiful foreshadowing. So then going back to the bookends, like you set up before, Bryan, we have the sheep in reflection over Boy K's face. They're sort of superimposed together there, and he's pointing at himself saying "me." And I was like, "Oh, Hawley is having Boy K invite T. Oscillus into Boy K's body."
Yeah. Yeah, you just signed your own death warrant,
exactly. Because everybody on the Discord is having fun. I'm like, I hope the Xenos get Boy K.
Nah. Oh, well, what kind of organism is that going to be between a narcissist sociopath? Oof. Boy.
All right, let's get on to the next scene here, a divided house and / expecting. Arthur and Dame Sylvia have a chat. Arthur voices doubts about Boy K's alien obsession, while Sylvia sides with the new research direction, revealing fracture in their partnership as Arthur insists they need contingency plans if the project goes sideways. Nibs delivers some good news. And before we start talking about this, Duve, is this one of the ones that you wrote? Yeah. So I have to say thank you so much, because you saved me a huge amount of time. So from here on, they're basically your scene descriptions. I think when we get to the next scene, maybe you can start introducing the scene.
No worries. I mean, as I said to you before the call,
good stuff.
I forgot that it was who wrote this one.
Yeah, so, I got into it, and it's just like, I'll just do it. Once I'm in the flow.
Yeah, because you did one, and I was at the very end, and I'm like, wait, what are you doing? And you're like, you missed one. I'm like, I haven't even gotten 20 minutes into the episode. So I was like, okay, work from the bottom up.
Back.
If you feel like it, but no obligation. No,
it's fine.
And then the next thing I do, I had to go do work, and then I came back, and then the outline's done.
I set that entire afternoon out for just focusing on this. So I had the time. I was more than happy to do it.
Well, triple appreciation for your subscription, for your joining us on the podcast, and for writing.
No worries.
Well done.
So we get an opening shot of a animal swimming in the lagoon, and I did do a quick internet search, and there is is it a Siamese crocodile? It has a couple of different names, but there is a endemic crocodile species in Southeast Asia. As well as there are saltwater crocodiles. And of course, Peter Pan.
Yeah. Yep.
That's what I was thinking. TikTok, right?
Yep. So. Exactly. A little foreshadowing.
What did Duve you make of Arthur starting to crumble morally here?
Yeah. Right from the get-go, he always seems to be, wanting to slow things down. We've got to do this, then move on to the next thing, which is completely at odds with the way Boy K operates. So there was always going to be some issues there. But I think Arthur's definitely seeing that Dame Sylvia is more on board with the way Boy K operates than the way Arthur wants to operate. Arthur's got that scientific rigor that you talked about, Bryan.
Mm-hmm.
She is more on board Boy K. I mean, you could tell when she's saying, he takes the risks. She was quite effusive. So and I think for Arthur, it's just like, can you not see? This is going to go wrong. Arthur just knows this is going to go. Yeah, it's going to go bad. Dame Sylvia is definitely being the monkey.
Yeah, this is obviously people can't see me doing this, but I was covering my eyes and I was sticking my fingers in my ears.
Yeah.
This is the Three Wise Monkeys, right?
Yeah.
In the Western context of, I'm going to be willfully ignorant of what's going on here.
Yeah.
Where Arthur is not able to go along with. Bryan Nibs is having some difficulties.
Yeah. She is. She comes with this incredible
news.
Which
is funny because this whole parent thing, right? And of course, Alien has often been about motherhood and pregnancy and some of these bigger themes.
Exactly. And then the mother of the alien, right? And aliens. She is pregnant. And then she's, but she says, I'm a machine. And she responds, I'm not a machine, which got me to think, well, isn't the human body a machine? Right? And with the technology exists, I can imagine they could, with a little work, create pregnancy for hybrids, right? You could, artificially inseminate. You could.
They keep talking about sperm in the in
right.
The
you can create a womb. You can somehow give nutrients to the embryo, and voila, you could have a pregnant hybrid. That could be like phase 2 or 3, right, of this whole project. And that's the thing. We don't know what Boy K is thinking long term. He doesn't think long term. That's part of his problem.
Right.
But but we also know that in this particular instance, she's not pregnant. But it leads us into the next scene. But it
gets into a whole. You just opened up the whole part of the latter a big part of the latter books of Doom with Frank Herbert's original. So no spoilers there, but there's some interesting things. Shall we move on? Duve, do you want to read us into the next scene?
So her name is Clarissa. Nibs talks more about her pregnancy to Dame Sylvia during therapy, but gives contradictory and conflicting responses. As a hybrid rejecting her machine nature, the internal conflict overwhelms Nibs, and she violently confronts Sylvia, who calls the guards and reports a level 3 event.
What did you take away from this, Duve?
Poor old Nibs. She's the one that's just not transitioned. They used the term in this a lot in this episode, transitioning.
That's interesting because she's experiencing body dysphoria.
She's not transitioning at all. She's stuck.
Yeah.
She's stuck in who she was, the body she was in. She feels completely disconnected. Her identities. I think her identity shattered when she was on board the ship. And Aeschylus, that's the moment she broke. It's really affecting to watch the actor because she plays the child really well in that situation.
She's so good,
and she's doing that. I don't want to engage. I don't want to confront the reality. I want to stay in my reality where I feel warm and safe.
Exactly.
But it's and the tension in the scene was perfect. It's just ramping up. You were waiting for that explosion, and when it
perfect dramatic tension building.
And when it came, it's like ooh.
And Lily Newmark, is doing an amazing job as this. And then in previous episodes, when Kierce says to them when they're in the lab, "Quiet now," because Boy K was calling, and she gives this teenager look like, I was just like, wow, so good. Bryan, what did you think of the level 3 event here, and how terrified were you that a child, and as you were talking before about children, and we think about impulse control and their ability, do they have guardrails?
Yeah.
And when a child impulsively acts, but they have a battery that can power a city and a super, an internal skeleton that is, T-1000 like, or.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to, Stu said it very well. I'll jump in and say, thinking about it in neurology, and that is the Lost Boys and Wendy, excuse me, miss puberty, right? Yeah. So there's a reason why you have years to develop, because all these changes that you're doing, that the body goes through, the hormones are being released, right? You get to time to think this out, to develop cognitive and self-actualization, because I have time. It takes years. And all of a sudden, she is now throwing into this big mess of being an adult without that slow self-actualization, hormones, figuring out things in your own time. We were all parents here. We're going to be either been through it or going to see it.
It's coming.
It's coming right now.
It's perfect that you raised this, because I've managed to finally listen to Nevermind the Music, and I listened to the first 2 episodes this morning, and Nicole talks about that exactly in the first episode, the development, and how it has to happen to regulate teenagers so that they stop making poor decisions.
Right. Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Quick plug for Nevermind the Music. Go to the show notes and there's a link. They're one of our affiliates, Mark and Nicole. Mark was on last week. So
yeah, and nibs use violence like you've seen kids do, right? They take that slap, or they go and attack Sylvia in that way, and then she distracts her with tea, like a kid. Right. So she understands that there's a child still in this adult body, and she has to use those kinds of skills to go into this level 3 event, which is going to be interesting what that means when she's back to her place
and
room.
As a parent, I learned, distraction, coercion, bribery. There are sometimes you have to resort to those things to get your child to respond to what you need them to do or stop doing.
Exactly.
And this is this is the introduction of the flavor strips, right? This line of code that you put on your tongue, because it's the same ones that's later in the episode.
That's a great sci-fi.
Totally.
Brilliant. I saw it. Wow, that's really good. But
which is interesting because we see Ash eating and drinking with the crew in 79, right? Oh, and Bishop sits down as well to eat them.
Yeah.
So, but the synth, do hybrids need to eat? And who says? One of them says, "I miss eating." Was it her? I forget who. No pooping.
Yeah, and
Curly says no pooping.
Yeah, Curly
says obviously powered by a lithium-ion battery that could power a city. So definitely do need to.
And it also tells me that Boy K did not do a big data dump into these brains, because they don't know all the tastes. They don't have all the information of books, right? Because they're downloading it by pass. And, Nib says, "Oh, I learned about the bird and the bees through the farm." Mm-hmm. That wasn't data dumped into their brains. So this is very interesting, right?
Yeah.
Learn. That bit itself was a brilliant encapsulation of how broken Nibs is, isn't it? First time Dame Sylvia asks about pregnancy, God brings babies.
Yes. Oh, you're right. He throws Christianity.
Yes. Yeah, God brings
religion.
God brings the babies.
Yeah.
And then when she pushes it, I grew up on a farm. So you've got an irrational bit and an irrational bit. And all in the same conversation. It's like, oh, Nibs.
Yeah.
Nibs.
Exactly.
And there's no safe word. I tried. I didn't have time yesterday to find a good clip of freeze all motor functions from Westworld.
Yeah.
But they're like, what do you mean there's no safe word? And what are you doing putting the call button on the other side of your patient?
Well,
to get to your call button, you have to go on the physically around.
What's interesting there is, think about how Dame Sylvia has been interacting with the Lost Boys. She's very much taken on the maternal role. She sees herself 100%. As a mother. It was only until...
And Boy K even says earlier in this episode, you're not their mother.
Yeah.
Go away. This is an IT issue, not an
IT issue.
She is. And it was only until that moment that Nibs leaped across the room, she suddenly realized, oh, crap, these aren't kids. I'm in a room with a tiger. You know?
Yeah.
So actually, the button being over the other side of the room probably was her thing. It's like, no, these are kids. These are kids. Yeah. See, no evil. Yeah,
exactly.
Hubristic blinders going back to Clark's laws about hubris in our understanding of what we're playing at here.
Exactly. And the three monkeys.
Yeah, as well, right? So I tell you, right, that he has put these two, there's a reason he put Clark and the three monkeys in one episode.
Yeah.
It's brilliant. Do you want to read us into the next scene?
The company man. Hermit's bullish confidence about his future at Prodigy and access to Wendy is swiftly deflated when Ines reminds him of the harsh reality.
Is it Ines or Ennis?
I think it's Ines. Isn't it? Atom
Ines
Ines
is the right word.
Atom Ines.
Yeah, it's better than Ennis because Anyway,
the lung keeping him alive makes him corporate property. What Hermit saw as leverage in Wendy becomes his chain, with Ines making clear that his survival depends entirely on corporate goodwill.
Ooh, boy. Bryan, what did you think about this? You've got some thoughts. Well, let's dissect a little bit more because I forgot that you have a big mind-body dualism thing that you want to bring here.
Yeah.
Do you have a blanket with sleeves by chance? No. Would you buy one?
No, but you can get those like Oodie type things. which I haven't got, but my wife and my kids do. And actually, that's damn useful because in the winter, you just put your Oodie on, sit on the sofa, and you're warm. So I'm not sure Ines is and actually stacks up there.
Right. And of course, we get Ines' face alongside the others on the wall there. So if that's not more signaling, I don't know what it is. You know, what he's signaling, I don't know, but he's signaling, right? You can interpret what you want, read a response theory here. And then, of course, transhumanism, which then goes back to the island of Dr. Morrow, H.G. Wells, the character of Morrow, Dr. Morrow. So all kinds of interesting stuff. Any other little details you got, Juve, before we toss the ball to Bryan to get into dualism?
The thing I got is, throughout this entire episode, Hermit's quite bullish. Got no problem speaking truth to power.
He is, isn't he?
No truth,
Yeah.
What I liked is Ines used his full title. Prodigy
Medic.
Hermit.
Yes.
It's like, get back in your box, little man. Yeah,
yank that
and I think that was the point that Hermit was like, "Oh shit, yeah, I've got no leverage in this at all." Your point there, very quickly, transhumanism. The next evolutionary step, which is Boy K's vision. But it's Prodigy product. That's what it's going to be. Yeah. It's going to be a product. So, just great.
Oh, and I want to ask you
a unit.
Exactly. It goes back to that. But Boykey's interesting because he's also he wants to be titulated, but he's also very business minded at the same time. A subsidiary of a subsidiary LLC, of a corporation of an LLC, whatever. So, really quick, Duve, Adrian Edmondson. You have to reset it up a little bit because
Adrian Edmondson is a comic actor. My history with Adrian Edmondson is I first saw him in 1984 on a BBC comedy called The Young Ones, which is completely anarchic.
He's in The Young Ones?
Completely breaks the fourth wall all the time. Completely weird. And he plays a punk called Vivian. And he's got
He's Vivian?
Wow. So he's got the 4 general pattern stars embedded in his forehead with orange vertical hair. So that is Adrian Edmondson.
Whoa.
Go internet. Go do a quick internet search and look up Adrian Edmondson,
the Young Ones,
Ones, to get a picture of it because it is I had no clue that was him.
That is him. So he's well known in the UK. He was
he in Ab Fab too?
He might have had a cameo because he was married to one of.
It's coming up in an internet.
Yeah, he was married to one of the characters, one of the stars in there.
But he's of that era of British television.
And he was very big with his partner in crime, who I'm bouncing off now. Luke and Ian are going to be screaming at this pod. but anyway, Aid Edmondson, very recognisable. And I think he's just fantastic in this. he hasn't got. It's not so much menace when he walks in a room. He's just got something that, it took Hermit a little bit of time, but you clock this guy.
All right.
I've got to listen.
Mm-hmm.
Go with me here for a second. And this, I think, is by accident. I don't think this is necessarily by design, but some seriously fourth dimensional chess, if it is by kids playing around eggs in episode 2, when Slightly and Smee are playing in the egg. Dude, did you see this? And we're all screaming like, get away from the eggs. But they're synths. It doesn't matter. So he's inverting horror into comedy. With this actor, with Abe Edmondson, again, he's inverting for a certain set swath of viewers. He's inverting comedy and horror in the same way that he's inverting, or not synths, but hybrids and Alien.
He's tricksy, isn't he, Hawley?
Very tricksy.
Yeah. Layers.
All right, Bryan, take us down the mind-body dualism problem. And I talked about this a little bit last week too.
Yes, that's Mark.
Yeah, with Ghost in the Machine and
yes, exactly.
What's the guy's? I gotta look back behind me. Arthur Kessler, who is reacting to the dualism thing. So
yeah, exactly.
Over to you.
So thank you. So I will make this. I won't make this a long diatribe. We don't have the time. But the core idea. So this is an ancient problem. Plato, Aristotle, all that. But René Descartes comes along and says there are two distinct kinds of substances in reality. Okay. First is the mental or thinking substance. This is the I think, therefore I am, right? It's a certainty. It's the mind. It's the soul. It's the consciousness, right? Then we have another set of physical substance, the physical body, spatial objects, chairs, desks. And the problem then, you've got these two substances of reality that you experience, but they interact. So the mind-body problem is an interaction problem, the ghost in the machine. Because if I want to think I'm going to shake your hand, David, my hand moves. Whoa. Okay. My mind thought, and then there was a body movement. How'd that happen, right? So Descartes understood it, but he kind of like, oh, it's some kind of gland on the body, but, blah, 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 So it becomes this mind-body problem where if you think about neurology and neuroscience, there's a strong correlation between the mental events and the brain events. If I feel emotions, anxiety, I'm going to feel it in my body. If I'm depressed, I feel it in my body. The brain imaging, there's a strong correlation. You don't need two separate substances. They're one. Right? So here is the mind-body problem that Mark alluded to, the ghost in the machine, right, David? Yeah. And what Adam and everyone Hawley is talking about. So the consciousness and the body. And that's your backstory for that.
I'm really glad you've raised this, because this, to me, goes to a question I've always had in this series, where you've downloaded child minds into hybrid bodies, so they do still experience the mind sensation of fear, but they don't have the autonomous bodily reactions that we do.
Correct.
They don't have the hair standing up.
No horror
to trap air to keep us warm.
Horror liberation.
Losing blood from the extremities to protect the core. They don't have that, so they can only internalize fear in the space of their mind. That must surely have a detrimental effect.
Yeah, I think it would be very scary and in some ways isolating, because you are truly experiencing Descartes with two separate experiences, and that would freak us out.
A kind of an uncanny valley in and of itself.
Yeah.
Right? But from a point of internal point of view, as opposed to an external, something's weird here.
Yeah.
Person.
Yeah.
I like that.
So it's like all through, it's rife throughout here, this dualism question.
Yeah. Yeah. And Hermit makes, I think, we make a legitimate argument that, my memories, Marcy's memories or emotions, it's Marcy, right? Well,
but is it?
Is it? Yeah.
That's good.
And Kessler talks about this in his book, Ghost of the Machine, about what happens if you separate, if you took an existing consciousness, decanted it from the body.
Yeah.
What would happen?
So this is what we're seeing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you want to do the next scene?
All right, Doof, you want to carry on? Yeah.
And now you can hear the clock. By the way, thank you very much for changing it, because what I put down was rubbish.
The edit.
That's really good.
Yeah.
Hermit reunites with Siberian and Rashidi as Boy K watches via the security system. Wendy and Boy K have a heart-to-heart. She wants them to stop experimenting on the aliens. Boy K just wants Hermit off the island.
Right. You fought the crocodile, and now you can hear the clock. I didn't pick up on that until the second watch.
Yeah, that's good.
And I was like, oh, she says they picked her, and Hawley has to know that we would have all been going crazy just like Hermit outside those blast doors trying to get in, because we want to see Wendy kicking this Xeno's ass and how she decapitated it.
Mm-hmm.
But he hides that from us. So what happened there that she fought the crocodile and she can now hear the tick clock?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I don't have time to go read Peter Pan. No. I need to be able to download it just like French or other books.
But I mean, in this scene, Boy K really just doesn't like families. Yet he's created a family.
Oh yeah,
it's
Yeah.
Everything. And Bryan, you had said something earlier that made me think about this same scene, and I forgot to bring it up. But the fact that he rails against parents in this, always telling us what to do, guardrails.
Yeah. Exactly. Right. And he calls them. He doesn't call Hermit. He calls him the brother. Right. It's like he has a certain aloofness, and so if you have like a narcissist sociopath, you have tendencies of superiority, lack of empathy, manipulation, risk-taking, shallow relationships, sense of entitlement. I mean, this is textbook. Boy K. Yep. It's like, I don't need family. I don't need friends. It's all in my way of what I want to do. You live in my world,
and that
right?
makes it like really interesting when Wendy still wants to please as the boy genius. She's got her pet name for Boy K. So she wants to please Boy K, but he's doing the toxic gaslighting again. But I think Wendy's got more leverage. I think she's got more cards than she actually realizes. Don't think she needs to be placating or pleasing Boy K. Maybe she'll come to that realization.
Right.
Yeah.
And they've set up a bunch of stuff where people were both Arthur, Sylvia, and Kirsch all stop short of openly confronting Boy K at various points. And Curly even walks up, dances around that line when Boy K says to her, "Don't tell me what you think I want to hear. Tell me the truth." But do you ever tell a guy like that the truth when he owns your lung? Right?
Yeah.
And just going back to that really quick, just the idea that, you can, it's very expensive, but you can stay and work off you can work off the contract. That's no problem at all. We'll be happy to set that up or that contract up for you. Oh, so insidious, right?
Yeah. But it shows how pervasive the corporations are in this world.
We rent our phones now.
Yeah.
Right. Well, soon we'll be renting our computers.
Yeah. A lot of people rent their automobiles.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
But we rent software.
Yeah.
So perpetual flight. We're batteries in the matrix, and the corporations are just drawing energy off of us.
Pinky swear. Pinky swear.
Everything's been all right. Not.
Okay.
Right. You want to move us along, dude?
The naming / family matters. I'll just do the quote. That's all right. There is power in a name.
Please.
It is through names that we bring all things into this world. And when they leave, it is names we carry with us. So they are never truly gone. And that's a quote from Justin Cronin, the ferryman, which I thought was perfect for this scene.
Absolutely.
So we've got Kirsch and Tootles 100%. Observe the image, a.k.a. I Dolly. And Tootles chooses a new name for himself, Isaac. Slightly acts weird and runs away, and then contacts Morrow while Kirsch surveils the interaction. With Slightly's mother as leverage, Morrow's veiled threat coerce Slightly into agreeing to deliver someone infected with a Xeno embryo.
Bryan, let's first talk about Tootles changing his name to Isaac. But first, I want to just reflash again. If you go watch that scene, one of the first computer screens that pops up, if you freeze frame it, and then you do a computer enhance, we always like to joke about computer enhance. You can see up in the, exactly. Well, great Blade Runner reference. So that up in the upper right and upper left corners of the computer screen, it says nibs. Do I have the screen? Let me scroll back here. I do have it right here. And then it says, where it says scanning specimen, the window title is hybrid memory personality interface. Parameters saved and uploading to hybrid, cognitive analysis 40%. But Nibs' name is listed on this. Yeah. So this is a scan of Nibs, not of T. oscillus.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think this is part of the level 3. This is the protocol for level 3 threat, is that you're going to have to maybe shut down, kind of like what Wendy went through, where she's on the table.
They taught us that. They demonstrated that they can shut you down remotely.
Exactly. So then now you can scan to find out bodily what is wrong with her. Mm-hmm. But the problem is, right, as we all know, it's a consciousness thing. It's an emotional thing. So is that really going to work? I don't think so. It's like her body is fine. But it's mechanically. Yeah. But it's the consciousness. That's the problem. How are you going to fix that? I don't know.
So Tootles chooses a new name, and canonically he is the oldest of them, right? And that fact is established later.
I really liked that I'm a grown man, I'm a scientist, I want a real name. And he's gone for a powerful name. Because when he said Isaac, the very first thing that bumped into my head was Newton.
Right.
Yeah. Me too.
And, he's and for me, a serious man. And that seems to be Tootles seems to be definitely developing into I suppose what we would class as a man, as a rounded individual. So that was really good. And then they juxtapose that with slightly bumping into him as he walks out of the lab. And just such a kid response. Oh yeah, something from the lab. Oh, I don't know. And then Tootles is just like, yeah, whatever, dude. I want to go and play. So it brings it back that these are still kids. So it's just so good at the way they do it. But yeah.
I wonder if Isaac too, like how far you take Isaac back, like where are some deeper roots for that, even beyond modern history. So,
one thing I did want to say is I noticed within this episode there's weird lip licking by both Morrow and Boy K.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I just wonder whether it's. I mean, it kind of goes into the whole creepy groomer, gaslighty type vibe, but it was interesting that both times it was very close up, full head image, so you can see it. I just thought,
I missed it.
Watch it again. You'll see Boy K does a weird lip lick. And so does Morrow.
Okay. Huh. Well, I love Morrow as we pan back. We think he's in the tea house, but he's sitting with Arush's mother, who's terrified. The poor woman. She thinks that this guy is an angel, that really he's not. But then I love Slightly sitting on his rock. It's the epitome of Western ideas about meditation. I'm going to go and master myself by sitting on this rock in a beautiful green verdant landscape. Bryan, like the idea of Western, Eastern mythology and the way that Westerners idolize this perfect image of sitting on a rock. And
that's right. What you see like in the Kung Fu Panda movies.
Bringing the Ice Age.
Ice Age. Yeah.
Well played.
Oh, dear. Do you want me to move on to sibling rivalry?
Sure.
Yep.
Yeah. Go
sibling
for it.
rivalry. Hermit goose around.
Oh, is this is this the scene or does it come later where Kirsch unlocks the paddock?
That's the last bit. That's the last bit of the previous scene. So, the last thing you see is Kirsch unlocking the paddock and he's walking in to those eggs.
Right. So
touches them.
Check me if you guys think you have different logic here, but he's surveilling the interaction between Morrow and Slightly. And so he is unlocking the paddock and he's going to leave it unlocked because Slightly's going to miss that detail. He's going to be so nervous at trying to complete his mission. He's going to just go, oh, the door's unlocked and we go in.
Yeah. Kirsch gets what he wants.
That's the way I read it. Kirsch is setting this up for Slightly.
He gets a human subject at the hands of others. So he actually gets something he wants that he probably wouldn't ask for.
Right. And he's pushing Slightly into what choice are you going to make here?
Yeah. I'm not giving you any moral reasoning here. I'm just giving you an option.
Yeah.
Right?
Choose. You said you would choose to stand up for your friends, so let me observe. This is all about observation.
Yeah.
Kirsch is observing all of this.
All input.
He's always behind the scenes watching.
And we're watching Teosilis and we're watching the embryo. So there's a lot of observation going on here. Boy K is observing as Joe reunites with his friends. Right. Kirsch obviously is observing. Dame Sylvia is observing Nibs. Right. So there's a lot of people watching each other all across this episode.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Next scene, sibling rivalry. Hermit goofs around with the Lost Boys and we get more info about the Five until a bitter Slightly arrives, questioning why Hermit gets special treatment and why Wendy has a brother. Wendy deflects with, I'm older, but Slightly has already made his deadly choice, selecting Hermit as the human carrier for the xenomorph embryo he must deliver tomorrow.
We get the little code slips of flavor chocolate. Again. Very fun. Very cool little sci-fi.
Joe's like, it's my engine oil.
Yeah.
But no, that was a lovely little scene actually. Just again, take the tension down a little bit of interplay.
Right, just after an intense scene where Kirsch is touching an egg and we're like,
we get a little info
and then
dump
they're goofing around.
Oh, tell me about the Five. But actually,
great world building.
That's what you need.
I
did like in the background. Was it Curly and I'm going to call him Isaac now rather than Toodles? Was it Curly and Isaac playing Jenga with cement blocks?
I kind of interpreted those as being heavy as well.
Yeah, I was just like lovely little detail in the background just to remind you that these are synths. These are artificial bodies. But look, just really nice little group scene. Smee again, the actor who plays Smee just nails that childlike. Smee is so innocent. I want Smee to live. Please do not kill Smee.
Jonathan Ajay.
Yeah, do not kill him.
His acting, his portrayal, he's so Smee. He's gorgeous. I love Smee.
Well, and I also picked up when Hermit was telling us about the story about the 5 companies and democracy, government. He said that the companies apparently, I quote, apparently fixed all the problems. But, right? Sure.
Just bury those problems in a deep, dark hole.
Just bury them. Yeah.
We also get confirmation that Matrix-style learning is a thing in this world.
Yeah.
That's good. And then, obviously the big thing here is that Slightly gets to take out his animosity and his upset at that Wendy gets to have a brother. He now then gets to be targeted as the perfect victim for what Morrow is grooming him to do.
Well, it was that classic thing, wasn't it?
Yep.
He just great to have Slightly come straight off that interaction with Morrow, the undercurrent of threat to his family, to then come straight into that really nice scene. Everyone's like joking around, and he just projects all of that fear straight onto
really
Hermit
good.
and Wendy.
Yeah.
Really good.
That's a great observation.
The actor has some great physical acting as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Let's bring it to a
getting close. Mother's touch. In the lab, a Xeno erupts from Joe's preserved lung, but instead of violence, it responds to Wendy's gentle alien cooing. An eerie maternal bond forms, hinting at a dark, intimate connection between hybrid and monster. All the while, Kirsch watches from the shadows.
And this is just, again, playing in this whole world, getting into the resurrection movie of it all, right? Even though, it's just there. You can't help. This is, if you're using salt and pepper, it's in your recipe, right? If you're using a pasta or whatever, it's just part and parcel of this world. Very, very fun sort of wink.
Yeah,
in some way.
And again, we're playing, aren't we, with this theme of family, motherhood, birth, everything through it. It's like, is Wendy the queen? This is a hive species. She's interconnected. Right. She's a machine that's connected to other machines. She's part of a hive. We're getting artificial hive. We're getting the Xeno hive.
And she's 1 foot in both worlds.
It seems like it, doesn't it?
She can, translate between the two worlds.
But what a great way to bookend
a common reaction I saw across the internets was to Spaceballs and in the a diner scene where the cast of Alien is there, and they sort of recreate the chestburster scene, but instead the proto-alien comes out and starts singing a little...
Isn't it Hello, My Baby, Hello, My Sweetheart, Hello, My Ragtime Gal? With his little jaunty hat.
Top hat. Yeah.
And so a lot of people across the internet all had that in mind. Because we'd never really seen sort of this snake-like appendage cobra tail thing. So, Bryan, how did you respond to Wendy cooing?
Yeah, she smiles and watches a snake like Alien. It's like, in her brain, at least in her consciousness, there's no fear here. So she's able, again, that comes back to the earlier part about communication or language or this type of thing that is going on, that they're able to bond. And, Stu, you were talking about the hive. It's like, I kept thinking, well, she's going to be a huge, important commodity because if she has a connection, how can they use her to move this project forward?
But
another reaction I saw, a lot of people were like, "Oh, that glass is obviously not very strong for the alien to burst out." This is where those little nibbly bits that you're like, okay, I'm fine with it. But I get it. I also get it because this show is, like I said in the last episode, is molecular gastronomy. It's not, it's for everyone, but not everyone is going to enjoy the experience of this. And I get that. And what we often find is that it's easy to attach to these kinds of details when the story isn't working. So we pick up. I do that all the time. The story's not working for me. I complain about the CGI. I complain about the ADR, all of those little things, the seams of the edges and seams that don't.
But this scene is definitely that molecular gastronomy, because he's using the things you expect, the emergence of the alien, the violence that comes with it. And then he immediately pivots to, nope. It's a really personal, tender moment between this xenomorph and Wendy. And it's just like, what?
And Joe is the biological father?
I think I wrote, didn't I, something like, how messed up would it be if, Wendy actually wants the Xeno to come out of Joe. It's just, there's just potential for...
Which is this nightmare fuel of Giger, of H.R. Giger, right? The original designer of the alien, the physiology or the visual of the aliens, of the xenomorphic species. So it's really twisted stuff.
Yeah, that's great. But fantastic way to end the episode there.
Well, and then there's another fantastic way to end the episode.
Talking about rabbit holes.
Yeah.
We're all banging our heads here.
This is definitely my jam.
Tell us about it.
So yeah, this is Jane's Addiction, and the track is Ocean Size from their 1988 album Nothing Shocking, and very much on the back of what Mark did last week. I'm not even in the same universe as Mark. I decided to go and take a dive into the lyrics, and of course it does tie in thematically. I don't know why I said, does it tie in thematically? Yeah, of course it does. This is Noah Hawley, you idiot. God. And you look at the lyrics, and it's talking about it's giving you a sense of disconnection, and some people have looked at the song and to them it speaks about being homeless. That level of disconnection, which is interesting if you think about the Lost Boys. They talked a lot, again, about family and home, yet they are now isolated. And that's your point, Bryan, that mind-body problem. They're isolated within an artificial body. Again, the ocean, it's a mother metaphor, isn't it? We talk about the ocean giving life. And for me, there's definitely something there about... Maybe it's not the hybrid so much as maybe it's Wendy's desire to be part of something bigger, to have some role. I don't know, but there's definitely something in there about an ocean being vast and the permanence of it and something like that. But there's a lyric about being torn like a tooth. And with how many examples of that have we got in this show? We've got the hybrids being torn from their physical bodies into the artificial body. We've got the mirroring of the alien specimens being torn from their environment and brought into an alien environment. So I mean, that again, he picks his songs really well.
And then Neverland is surrounded by an ocean as well.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, island. Yep.
There's a line about in the sky lives a spy. Is it Morrow or is it Kirsch? Who is the spy here?
Yeah.
And I've got to say, the final lines, I'm hoping this is teeing up the next episode, because the final lines are, no talking man, all action. No talking man, all action. Do you think maybe we're going to have a little...
I have not watched the trailer for next week's episode, but I've heard a few other people talking about it, and it does sound like, even on the official pod, they said something. I don't want to say anything here, just in case people are trying to preserve their enjoyment of it, but it could potentially be something action-oriented.
Because as I've watched this program, I've thought less and less that, is Hawley actually going to do a flashback episode to the Maginot?
And we talked about that relative to the first episode, where there's a whole bunch of track that he laid, and we've been on Neverland now. So
I could see that.
But also, I would be equally. I wouldn't go, oh, it's terrible. I don't know what's happened on Maginot, because my imagination's filled in that gaps. If Hawley's got a story to tell about what's going on at the moment, I'm in. But if he's going to do a flashback episode next week and show us the carnage on the Maginot, I'm going to get the popcorn out and I'm just going to settle in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bryan, is the ending music working for you? A lot of people don't know how to process it. But again, for me, it's just Hawley playing with the form, doing molecular gastronomy. And something that the songs do for me is it kind of crystallizes or synthesizes in the experience of watching the show for me so that I feel in some way oddly complete. Even though it might be a literal cliffhanger of an episode, I'm fine. And something about the music just sort of seals off the episode for me so that I'm satisfied, but yet ready for next week when it comes. That's my personal experience of it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, how is this using contemporary music working for you as a outro?
Yeah, it is different. Again, it's that same kind of thing with the beginning. It does not. Yeah, it does not meet expectations.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not getting like just, fade to black. We're done.
Right.
We're getting really banger music. And I'll be honest, it throws me. But maybe that's a good thing. I'm kind of embracing the jar. It jars me.
Right.
It's like, whoa, you have electronic guitar,
And now we're anticipating it.
Yeah, exactly. So now I'm used to it.
Mm-hmm.
So my body is like, just, you can't see, but I'm like, my hands are in a fist, right? It's like I'm preparing my body for this onslaught of sensation.
Right.
And
right.
I'm digging it as we're getting used to it. I think I'm getting it.
This is really where Hawley understands television, and he understands how we engage with television, and that, we're doing week to week, thankfully, for the show. But then we're going to go back and we're going to binge it.
Yeah.
And so he's finding the ways through the delivery of the format, knowing that both is going to happen. We're going to finish on a week to week, and then we're going to have it accessible for binge forward.
Yeah.
And somehow he's able to bring all the parts and pieces together. He understands pacing. This is episode 4 of 8. We're midway through.
Yeah.
Right. And I feel no loss in momentum, even though we've zeroed down into Neverland and we're in our alien haunted house, just like on the Nostromo or at Hadley's Hope, right? We're in this enclosed space. But yet, well, okay, so let me go back here to, let me see if I can jump up this line somewhere in here. Okay, now I can find it, of course. Here it is. The Neverland has been made, the Neverland had been make-believe in those days, but it's real now. And there were no lights, and it was getting darker every moment. Of all the delectable islands, Neverland is the snuggest and most compact. Not large and sprawly, with tedious distances between one adventure and another, but nicely crammed. When you play at it by day with the chairs and tablecloths, it is not the least alarming. But in the 2 minutes before you go to sleep, it becomes very real. That's why there are night lights.
He set the blueprint out for how he's doing the show, because he gets the cultural way that we consume television shows now. And what he does really well is he seeds mysteries, but he answers the ones that move the story forward, and he just keeps it. He just moves the other ones a little bit slightly forward more. It's like we've just talked about the end songs. The end songs now give you a deeper insight into what the episode's been putting forward. Someone else would have used the song to make it denser and try and get you down some other area. I just like the way, look, you can look at those lyrics, you can interpret them in certain ways, but you'll see the themes that I'm laying down. You'll see what we've had in the past 50 odd minutes. And I love that.
I forgot to mention at the top of the show that we did have a piece of feedback.
Cool.
We don't have Nancy from our hand of the pod. We're not getting a lot of feedback. Send in feedback, guys. We want to hear.
Well, the Discord's crazy, isn't it? The Discord gets a lot of conversation going on it.
Right.
Yeah.
And I just want some of that conversation to come this way. AVP at thelorehounds.com, and Flamboyant Gatekeeper, who that's their handle online, sent us an email. I kind of they were saying that, I'm not sure if I'm vibing on this show. And so I said, well, write in the email, lay out your points, because I get it. This is a weird show. This is not, this is not a, what's the show? I'm thinking
Alien versus Twin Peaks.
Yeah, exactly. That's the one. Taylor Sheridan, right? This is not a Taylor Sheridan Alien. This is not The Pit, right? This is something wild. So, Flamboyant Gatekeeper says, I've been an Alien fan for a bit. When I learned about Alien Earth, was excited. Your pre-show got me pumped. The showrunner seems to have their ducks in a row. This will rule. And then the show happened. It was good, but something I couldn't quite put my finger on felt off. Not the adult children. Sure, that was weird, but I'll go for it. The xenomorph is fine. Prodigy is new. Prodigy, I can't, now I got podcaster mouth. But fair enough, the story has been on Weyland-Yutani ships. So what is it? My first inkling was the vast amount of cultural references. I can forgive Peter Pan because that's one of Elon Musk, Boy Cavalier's obsessions. But Ice Age? One baseball player from before I was born? I get that they need to show that the kids are kids, but it takes me out of it. But that's not the root cause. For me, it really clicked with episode 3. And it is about the xenomorph after all. And this email came in just after we finished recording episode 3. So sorry I missed it, but catching up. They are unfortunately showing it too much. In the scene when Wendy is rescuing Joe, I can't help but see the man in the suit, so to speak. It moves way too human. And the acid blood isn't acid enough. We know from 79 that facehuggers bleed too. So how are they dissecting it? And speaking of dissection, I don't understand what Kirsch is thinking letting the tadpole loose like that. Joe is a terrible host in his current state, and he needs to be stabilized, not to mention the danger. He's seen the data. He knows what a shit idea this is. The full-grown version, but I think relative to episode 4 versus 3, episode 4 puts this email in a little bit different light. So just everyone take that into frame. Carrying on, the full-grown version also seems too fast when off-screen. In episode 2, when Morrow is interrupted at the elevator, it takes all of 3 seconds for every single prodigy soldier to die. A prodigy, if I can say that. It gave me a samurai cutting someone 400 times and then walk away 10 meters before the body slides apart.
What's wrong with
that? And that's not right. Same in the apartment. The slaughter was too short. The Quentin Tarantino-like blood spray, I don't mind gore-wise, but it felt out of place. More of a display than what I would have expected.
Just on that, David, I did bump on that as well. When I was watching, I thought, Jesus, this thing, we know the alien is a killing machine, but it did seem to happen very quickly, and everybody seemed to be sliced and diced. So yeah, I see where the writer's coming from on that one.
And the whole thing in the apartment with the costumes and the party, that was all a very strange thing. So I get it, right? Yeah. And the Reggie Jackson thing. It's like it was really on the nose. Yeah, I totally get it.
Yeah.
And we were in the first episode to drop. People are showing up for the show because the word alien is in the title. And so if he doesn't give us a xenomorph doing some, slice and dice, Ginsu knife, slice and dice, then people are going to go, well, what show is this? Because I don't see a xenomorph killing a lot of people. And so he's like, here you go.
Which kind of strengthens the argument for next episode being potentially a flashback to the Maginot, because that would be more trad alien style vibes.
Yeah.
Right.
What everyone knows, it's comfortable with.
Continuing, nevertheless, I enjoy the show greatly. The blend of humor and serious works. They say that comedy and horror are two sides of the same coin, and the show really brings that forward in the best of ways. I guess I just have the same feeling I get when a movie is fast and loose book source material. I just don't have anything to show for it. The themes are interesting, and I don't think that Prodigy is long for this world. I'm expecting Yutani to let the place get infested and nuke the island from orbit to keep everyone's mouths shut. I'm very interested in learning how the F are they keeping folks quiet about what they've seen. Someone said that the island is the equivalent of the Nostromo in that it's isolated from the rest of the world. If that's true, that means nobody can survive. I'm waiting. I'm already waiting for next week. So it even seems like Flamboyant Gatekeeper's email here, like, I'm not so sure if I'm vibing, but by the end of their email, they're like, okay, give me the next episode.
Hey, nuke the site from orbit. It's the only way to be sure.
That's right.
That's right.
But actually, that's not a bad prediction, actually, because we know something's got to happen within the arc of this show, whether it's a single season or if Hawley gets multiple seasons. We know there's got to be something that suppresses all of this knowledge or experience. It's not going to get out into the world as we understand so far. We know alien species are canon, and it now makes that is this a bug hunt? We know that's great because we see other species apart from the xenomorph. So that answers all of that now. But yeah, maybe Yutani does drop a nuke.
Well, and Alicia and a few other people have some internet points on, is this just a giant Trojan horse by Yutani to take Prodigy out? Because Prodigy and Lynch are the newest to the five. And in the previous scene there, when Morrow is dialing up into AOL, I should have a little sound effect of dial up to internet. He's reading some articles about how Lynch and Prodigy joined the five. And there's some snippets about that information. So yeah, is Yutani playing a different game here? Or happy accident. Oops, our ship crashed, but this might actually, chaos is a ladder. Maybe she's seeing that this is a way to, because they're going to be able to come in and collect all the data, before they nuke it from orbit, and they're going to get to see what these aliens do. I don't know. We'll see.
That's great feedback from Flamboyant Gatekeeper.
Yeah,
we're Big Ten.
Yeah.
Not everyone.
Yeah, exactly. And we want to be, want to approach with critique, right? Our criticism is not negativity. Criticism is what's working, what's not working. What am I experiencing?
Yeah.
How am I processing this? What do I think? What is your point of view? Maybe you can convince me otherwise, right?
Good.
Yeah, exactly.
So, all right. Well, gentlemen, thank you so very much for joining me. We're under 2.5 hours, so that's excellent. Thank you very much for your efficiency.
Good.
And your excellent points. I felt that was really great conversation. Yeah. Really appreciate you both making time, your busy schedules, your lives and your families to come and chat. And thank you for your support. You have both been steadfast, and it means a lot that we have people in this community who are willing to support the community. And it doesn't work for everybody in their finances, and that's fine. That's why we have public feeds. But it really is the subscriptions that this whole thing afloat. I don't know, the value versus the cost versus the return. This is incredible ROI.
Oh yeah, content overflowing. It's like I said,
sometimes too much.
I've only just started on the music, so yeah. So
right.
So much.
Yeah, it's good, and I encourage people, whatever little money you could do, it's a good thing. You get your money's worth.
Yeah, an annual subscription, I think at the discounted rate is $54 or something like that. That gets you everything. And we put out, over 100 episodes a year. We're over 400 right now.
Good stuff.
We love what we're doing. All right. So definitely check out all of the other affiliates. You can check the link in the link tree of the show notes. Bryan 8063 and Duve 71. You will find the gentlemen on Discord as well. If you have anything to say, you can at them. You can also send in emails. Please send in emails or voicemails, avp@thelorehounds.com. We also have a blog. The blog is open. Anybody can publish to the blog.
That's right.
And
that's right.
Sorry, Brian, go ahead. Why don't you pitch the blog?
Yeah. You can go to the website or a blog and keep scrolling. You'll find some material on how to do that. Or you on the Discord, there's a channel, Lorebrary. That's what we call it, the Lorebrary. And we encourage you, if you have deeper thoughts and connections, feel free to, give it up. I'll be editing it through and we'll get you up.
All right. Remember, if you have something nice to say, please leave us a rating and review on Apple Podcasts. It helps other folks find us. We are a particular kind of community that is more than a fan community, but less than professional critics. So if that works for you, also consider subscribing if it works for you in your personal finances. Again, Brian, Duve, I really appreciate it, and really fun to talk with you guys. And I look forward to talking with you both in future options. And as the series goes on, because I don't know that I'm going to be able to get back to you guys, if either of you open invitation, emails or voicemails, send them in and I'll make sure to include them in future episodes as we go along. So great to hear.
I've got the 40th anniversary of Aliens penciled in, David.
It's coming up next year.
I know. Yeah.
I know. Ooh.
Yeah, we're going to have to do some serious special coverage for that.
Cool.
All right, gentlemen. Thanks very much.
Take it easy.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us for our coverage of Alien Earth Season 1. We hope our conversation has added to your enjoyment of the xenomorphic mysteries and the many layered allegories that Noah Hawley has brought to the series. You can find links to all of our affiliates, our Patreon and Supercast pages, and Discord in the show notes for the episode. Look for the link tree, which has everything. We'd love to hear your thoughts on the episode and series. Send us your feedback and we'll answer and read it on our next podcast. Send emails to avp@thelorehounds.com or send us a voicemail. You can use the voicemail tool on our website, thelorehounds.com/contact, or record a note on your smartphone and email it to us at the same address. If you have enjoyed our approach, please consider supporting independent podcasters like us by subscribing on either Patreon or Supercast. Your support allows us to continue to produce comprehensive podcasts like these for the shows and films that matter most to our community. And at the end, we always like to give a special shout out to our Discord server boosters who help keep our community thriving. Aaron K, Tiller the Thriller, Duve71, Athena Ajalea, Lestu, Nancy M, Ghost of Perdition, and Radioactive Richard. And our deepest gratitude goes to our Lore Master subscribers whose top tier support makes everything we do possible. Samartian, Michael G, Michelle E, Brian P, SC, Peter O.H, Adam S, Nancy M, Duve71, Brian 8063, Frederick H, Sarah L, Gareth C, Matthew M, Sarah M, Andra B, Kwang Yu, Deadeye Jedi Bob, Nathan T, Alex V, Sub-Zero, Aaron K, Dally V, Mothership 61, Gnarls, Kathy W, Lestu, Jeffrey B, Elisa U, Neil F, Ben B, Scott F, Stephen N, Julia F, Kali S, Ilmariel /Tim, Paul K, Bobby C, Jessica H, and always last but never least, Adrian. The Lorehounds podcast is produced and published by the Lorehounds. Any opinions stated are ours personally and do not reflect the opinion of or belong to any employer or other entities. Thanks for listening.